And welcome back to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine. Hey, we promised we would talk about Fiat.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Fiat, they had some one-off concepts which were designed by Armani and Cartel and Bulgari.
Cartel. I love that name. Cartel.
Cartel, yes, that's cool, except it's with a K.
Yeah, but you could stylize spelling it.
And you and I have both driven the Fiat 500s, and they're fun. They're playful.
Yep.
But it's certainly not something I'd want to drive on a trip.
No. And a Fiat, of course, got a big start. I remember the launch of the Cinquecento.
Yeah.
Yes. The 500. It was a big deal. And it was, quite the vehicle, but big launch. But they couldn't get the dealers right away. Remember that?
Exactly. They had this was true of Fiat back in the 60s when they tried to sell here. You just couldn't get a dealer network put together right.
So, history kind of repeated itself. People wanted to buy the vehicle, and they couldn't buy it. And then they came out with some variants of it. I think they just really couldn't make it happen, now the 500e is going to be the only Fiat vehicle available for sale, one-car brand. They obviously you can't have a standalone dealership with one car.
No.
But I think it would be a fun little electric vehicle. We don't have too much information on this vehicle yet. The original 500e it was what they call a compliance car. So it only had about 90 miles of range. And I always thought it would be fun to buy one just as an around-town car.
And we were checking a few years ago. We were checking used ones, and they were like $7,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably a lot more now because, hey. But I think that typically, like around here, actually only a couple of miles from me, there's an Alfa Maserati Fiat dealer.
Yeah, so they'll
be sandwiched in.
Yeah, you have enough. As long as you have the Alfa Tonale, the small SUV, you can, you'll have something to sell,
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't know about that. What's happening? Is it a placeholder? I think it's more of a real car as opposed to the compliance car to be sold in California with 90 miles of range. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how this does. I look forward to driving it, though. It will be fun, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And again, as a little runabout for everyday shopping and errands.
Grocery getter. There's a term from the past. Right?
Yeah.
Parts chaser.
Parts chaser for your Mercedes.
Yeah. Well, the idea of a parts chaser was, it's some bomb I buy just to throw parts in the back, and then it ends up being customized at most shops.
That's right.
It's like, well, we could paint it, So, let's talk a little bit about Subaru. This week in LA, they revealed the Impreza for 2024. It is the 2024 model. It is the 6th generation of it. It is a 5-door hatchback design, 10% stiffer chassis, improved performance, a big use of structural adhesives that will incredibly, if you've never watched some of those videos on YouTube where they basically glue panels back on cars, it's amazing. It's a great way to do body work, I think. It's proven technology, and you don't take the chance of warping the panel by welding it back on. I think it's
just as strong.
Just as strong, and basically looks like caulk. You're caulking it.
Yeah, you got to buy exactly the right stuff.
Oh yeah, you can't use silicone caulk but
or liquid nails.
Liquid nails. Anyway, it has an 11.6-inch Subaru Starlink information display, and frankly, that's going to be the standard display across the Subaru lineup. I'm actually in the WRX now that has that, and it's great. It really is great. Um, so, interesting vehicle, RS trim level. It gets the 2.5 liter, 182 horsepower Subaru Boxer engine. We'll tell you a little bit more about the Impreza when we come back, and we'll take a look at a $15,000 car from Nissan. That is the least
Yeah.
expensive car sold in the U.S. right now. Take care. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. We were, before the break, talking about the new Subaru Impreza, and a lot of stuff. They've really done some serious updating.
Yeah, this RS trim thing is kind of interesting. It's sort of like a WRX light. You don't get that
Yeah.
271 horsepower engine, but you get a lot of the look. It's a red car with black wheels, and that's not a bad thing.
And usually the kind of the intermediate between regular and super high performance is a better driver overall, for overall conditions.
I will say this: the new WRX is one of the best handling vehicles I've driven in a long
Oh,
time. It's like
I'm sure
completely
they
flat.
are.
When you go around a turn, it doesn't roll at all, but it's not harsh either, you know? So they do.
No, until you get on some potholes.
It's a good car. It's a good car, and this Impreza will be great. And they've got to
Oh, it
get.
will.
You know what it is with the Crosstrek? They were supposed to have this out a lot sooner. Crosstrek, of course, being it's raised up. It's the same vehicle, but it's raised up. It's got more cladding on it. It's a little bit more off-roady, a little bit of a less sporty attitude and more of an off-road attitude. Those things are selling within 5 days when they get them.
Wow.
So they're actually selling the older car right now, and this will probably come out early 2023. You know, the new version with this great navigation system, that 11.6-inch navigation system with it turned vertically. It's really good. Does a nice job. So
And I like the integrated screen.
yeah, the screen is great. It is really good, easy to use, works great, and they have a knob for volume and tuning on the
Wow.
radio. So
What a concept.
what a concept! Like a knob, like, oh, you want to turn the
Yeah.
heat on? Here's a thing you turn.
Says heat.
Yeah, it's like while you're
Yeah.
driving along at 70 miles an hour, it's a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't want to go for the Crosstrek, you can go for the Impreza if you don't mind it riding a little bit lower, but it still has all-wheel drive, as most Subarus do. Only the BRZ is the only one that does not have all-wheel drive. So,
We'll see. We're going to see a lot of those at the ski slopes.
yes, I would agree. I would agree. And Les Jackson will be there taking his skis down from the top. But
I'll be there with my 1948 skis that are 8 feet tall.
you wax them up. You have to wax them up.
Yep.
Well,
Wooden.
here's a vehicle. You and I and many of our listeners has been saying, Fred and Les, you have to talk about this. Prices are going up for vehicles, and it's very high. And we agree. We hear you. It is out of control in many ways. But what can you do about it? Well, you can buy the Nissan Versa. The 2023 Nissan Versa starts at $15,730.
That's just almost giving it away.
The Mitsubishi model, which name escapes me for just a second, the inexpensive model used to be $14,000. Now that is $16,000. So that means the Versa is the least expensive vehicle sold in the U.S. And it's not a bad vehicle whatsoever, is it?
Yeah, it's not. It's
Mirage.
a
A Mitsubishi
compact.
Mirage used to be
Right.
the
It's
cheapest
a
vehicle.
compact and it's an entry level vehicle, but it's not like the old days
Right.
when entry level meant 4 wheels and an engine and a heater.
Now, if you want a 5-speed manual, that's what's the $15,730.
Right.
5-speed manual Model S. The Model S with the CVT transmission is $17,400. Still cheap these days. And the S Plus package, you can get that. Will add the addition of Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and 16-inch alloy wheels. If you step up to the SV, that's $19,020. And if you go all in for the Versa SR, which is the model currently being shown, $19,720. Still not bad for something under $20,000. 40 miles to the gallon for the MPG. Not a lot of horsepower, 122.
No, but it's enough. It's a small car.
Thank you. That was adequate. That's what you would say.
That's right.
One of my favorite Les Jackson sayings.
It comes to speed
Acceleration.
adequately.
Yes. Yes, we have some of that. But truly, if you need, wow, what a great first car that would be. It has all the standard safety
That's yep.
options, 40 miles to gallon highway, 32 city. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. What a great first car that would be, wouldn't it?
It'd be terrific. For your college student aged first off to school child, or even your high school senior.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great. It's safe.
Yeah, safe, got the safety features, and
Yeah.
it's not a lot of horsepower, so you're not going to get into
Well,
trouble
that's
power
actually a
drifting.
good thing.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk a little tech. And I was talking last hour about certain people attacking. This is crazy. Certain people attacking manufacturers that don't want to go all electric, but are considering use of hydrogen,
Hmm.
hybrids, engines running on synthetic clean fuel. That really annoys me, I have to say, because first off, it's not electric is great, but I don't know if it might not be for everyone, and there's certain uses where we should really try to look at some other powertrains, power ways of doing this. Um,
Absolutely.
there's nothing wrong with doing that. And Volkswagen, while they've sold a lot of electric cars, is also working on a hydrogen car with 1,242 miles of range. And this comes from Autocar, which is a German publication or European publication. And it is looking into hydrogen power with using something called a ceramic membrane uh, to for mass production of hydrogen fuel cells and hydrogen vehicles. A cheaper way of making that membrane, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, it's pretty amazing if you think about that. Think about if you could build a truck that could drive autonomously at night and could drive 1,200 miles without refueling.
That's that's a long drive.
That's basically down to Florida without
Yeah,
refueling, right? That's pretty amazing.
it is amazing.
Yeah. But I'm glad to see they're developing it. I'm glad to see Toyota is developing and Honda still developing hydrogen vehicles. Um, and there are people developing cleaner ways to make hydrogen, which could be great as a power source. We can't get locked into one. Just say, oh, we can only do electric. We can only do electric. We gotta. It's the future is a variety of things.
It is. And hydrogen is producible. It does require electricity to do it, but hey, so does making a battery.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and you don't have to mine rare earth minerals as well.
That's right.
So let's continue to develop all things. Let's not just say, "Oh, we found our solution. That's it." That's my opinion. I don't know if you have another opinion. Put it in the comments. But my opinion is let's check out everything and continue to make the internal combustion engine cleaner as well as we are.
Sure.
It's amazing what has been done with internal combustion engines to make them a lot cleaner. Well, when we come back, we're going to continue talking tech because we're going to talk about sanitizing your trunk. You can make that cleaner as well, and the luggage that goes into it. Ever think about that? Luggage must be pretty dirty. Well, we'll talk about
Yeah,
that
everything.
when we come back on Cruise Control. Fred Staub, Les Jackson. We'll be right back. So, Les, where would you go if you had a vehicle that had 1,200 miles of range?
I would go probably first to Denver.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Uh,
You could
kind of
get
a
there from where you are on 1,200 miles of range.
Just about to Denver, or up to western or midwestern Canada. That'd be a beautiful drive, although winter's coming.
Yeah, winter's coming.
So save that for spring.
I also think fuel cells could be a great backup for houses, couldn't they?
Terrific.
You know,
Um,
not
One fuel
loud.
cell,
They're not loud.
hardly any noise, and massive amounts of electricity on a tank of hydrogen. You could easily run your house
Even
and
five.
probably your next two neighbors.
Here we go. We're coming back in.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Well, Fred promised before the break that he would
Sanitize
tell
the
you
trunk.
about how to sanitize your trunk. And actually, you made a quick comment. You said, boy, luggage, must get really dirty. And you're right. We don't think about that, but it does.
Handled by a lot of people sitting
Yep.
in airplanes. You haven't you gotten luggage back from an air flight and it looks like it was dragged around,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
real dirty, and no one cleans it. You don't clean it really.
Of course not.
Yeah. Well, CarBuzz, our go-to source for information on patents, automotive patents, discovered a Hyundai patent that describes a cargo cleaning innovation to sanitize luggage and its contents in a trunk. So think about this. Haven't you put luggage in a cab,
Oh.
trunk, and you go, oh man, this is nasty looking in here. And I hope nothing hops a ride on my luggage.
I've picked up people at the airport in the past, and they've thrown the bag on the back seat, and there's dust left after they take the bag
Yeah.
out. It is certainly not a clean environment.
No, not a clean environment. But the folks at Hyundai are looking at the Ioniq 7 will have a hygiene airflow system that removes used air and employ ultraviolet light to sanitize the car's interior surfaces after its passengers have disembarked. Perfect for a cab, actually, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Who hasn't gotten in a cab and there's a distressing odor in it?
Yeah.
I was watching an old Adam 12 the other day, and the guy's like, they got this old police car to drive around. He says, you know what the smell of an old cab smells like? And he goes, yeah. He goes, that's what it smells like in this
Oh,
car.
boy. Yeah, you're lucky not to see chicken bones and everything else.
Yeah, distressing smell. So this is a
Yeah.
non-chemical sanitizing
Off-putting.
device. Off-putting, yes. Can't wait to get out of here. Why doesn't this window roll down? The cargo area will also remain cooler for longer. And I guess that's a plus. But there you have it. What do you think? They even want to tie it into the navigation system that can track if odors are in the area or if there's been some kind of outbreak, I guess, in the area. But interesting. A technology you didn't know you needed, but it's not bad,
Well, it's a nice thing. It's one of those things that just makes life a little bit less irritating.
Distressing smells.
Now, if we could just take care of one of my neighbors, we'll be in great shape.
This is an interesting article about Chevy performance. This comes from an interview with Mark Royce during GM's Investor Day in New York City. And he said 2 new Chevy sports cars are said to be on the way in 2024. One is the next version of the C8, and there's another one based on the C8's architecture that will set the standard of world performance for Chevrolet. They're talking over 1,000 horsepower. We know what they are. You and I have been talking about
Yep.
them. The one is the E-Ray, which is basically going to be a hybrid all-wheel drive Corvette, probably using the 495 horsepower engine and a hybrid system with all-wheel drive. That will
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
replace, it's like kind of a mid-range model. It will probably have the Z06 look, but with this different powertrain. So that's coming. Maybe just slightly less horsepower than the Z06, but with the traditional V8 engine and all-wheel drive, which would be nice to have on a Corvette, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That would.
And then the other one, I think it's going to be in Celestique territory for price, 300K, something like that.
Yeah. I
1,000
think you're right.
horsepower. That's the Zora, which might be the Z06 engine with the hybrid system as well. So you'll go up to 1,000.
But still called Chevrolet or Cadillac?
No, still called Chevrolet, but it will be called Zora. It won't be called a Corvette. It will be called Zora.
See, I think I just it's hard to believe Cadillac isn't going to have its own version, um, basically of Corvette.
The only thing I agree with you, and I think the only thing that stops you there is they can't build enough C8s. So where would they build them?
Well, true.
You know, I mean, there's still people order them, and they're like, I hope I get it in. I ordered it in 2022. I hope I get it in a 2024 model. So I think it will be, as they say, ultra aspirational, the Zora, and ultra rare. I think it will be the last internal combustion engine Corvette, and it will be super collectible, ultra collectible. What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, you remember Taz Juchter, the chief engineer, said, "I've never thought we would develop 1,000 horsepower cars for the road," and he was just beside himself that he was building something that would be sold at a dealer. I think it will be mind-numbing. What do you think?
Well, it's inevitable. There will be a limit, of course, but others are heading for 1,000 horsepower. So, once a couple start doing it, then everybody has to do it.
And I just think back to driving the C8 with 495 horsepower. I thought I don't really need any more than that.
Yeah, it's
I
plenty.
think it accelerates lightning fast, and I just don't need more than that. But to double that, basically, I could see maybe the E-Ray with the all-wheel drive. But the big thing on that, you're going to lose a lot of storage in the front because they're going to have to
That's
put the
true.
motors up there. At least that's what we're thinking. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It will be an exciting time, but they're coming, and they're not going to be cheap. That's all I'll say.
No, we can tell you for certain that they
That's
won't be cheap.
one thing. Yeah, it won't be $15,000. That will be the carbon fiber wheel package cost. So incredible stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Also revealed, there's more reveals actually. It just doesn't stop at the LA Auto Show. For the person that's upset about Toyota not going electric, they revealed their BZ, which stands for Beyond Zero. I did not know that. Compact.
I did not know that either.
Yeah, remember it's BZ with a number, and it's like, that's terrible.
Right.
It means Beyond Zero. Beautiful looking vehicle. Their stylists are doing great, don't you think?
They are, although just the nose, just right there at the nose, that little break.
Oh, the flat spot for the
It
bumper.
it looks like a mouth opening. No, up on top with a hood.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they're going away from the big fish face grill, which has been kind of part of that. I'm not a fan of the yoke steering wheel. I hope that
No.
doesn't catch on, but unfortunately, We see it a lot. I just don't see the need for it. I don't know why. It's just a styling thing. But good looking vehicle. This is the SUV, compact SUV. It's once again, it's that same form factor. It's a really slicked up. It's really a hatchback. It's not.
It
it's
is.
it's a 5 door. That's really what it is, but they won't call it that. But it's a mix of very angular lines with a very with very curvaceous lines. So you get the kind of squared off back area around the bumper and the bumper in the front, but then you get a lot of swoopiness on the sides. So low efficient coefficient of drag. Of course, the big screens on the inside, but good looking vehicle, I think. The BZ compact SUV. So there, whoever says they're not
Yeah,
building electric
it's
vehicles.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Interesting how it's angled in the back. So, also from Genesis, Genesis, the inspired by X, the X convertible. They showed that this is really a standout car. It's a electric vehicle that harkens back to the days of classic car design. Beautiful stuff from Genesis. Their stylists are incredible. Hey, when we come back, we're going to show you something that you can buy today. It is the smallest crossover, the XT4, small crossover in the Cadillac lineup. So stay tuned for an At the Wheel review. And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson. It's time, Les Jackson, for an at-the-wheel review. This time, it is the 2022 XT4 front-wheel drive Sport Cadillac. I remember the reveal of this. I think it was the last event that was held in the Cadillac House, and if you remember at the time, there were some German folks that were running the brand, trying to turn it into the next Audi, and that was
Yes.
It was actually a very nice space in New York, and they revealed this, and it is the smallest crossover in their lineup. Mine was the sport version, 2022. 2022, not a big year as far as developments for this vehicle. Kind of a carryover. Some cool new colors. Ours was in this infrared tint coat, the tinted clear coat red. So it really, really popped. And it is a kind of a smallish vehicle. I find it's a little small, especially for backseat passengers. But let's take a look at this. This is the front-wheel drive only. It gets great scores for overall vehicle score for crash safety, 5-star vehicle. And if you look at it, it's got some styling. It's got sort of styling in the back, like the Escalade, the lights that go up the back of it. And it has a lot of the standard look of Cadillac, the arts and sciences look, kind of a rounded off version of that, of the early angular design of the vehicle, kind of squared off at spots. On the inside, there's a lot of jet black leather with cinnamon accents and just a little bit of carbon fiber on the dash. A lot of black, though, there. It's got kind of an old-style controller, a knob that you rock around, but you can also use the 8-inch touchscreen, which is a little small these days. Seats were comfortable, covered in leather. Kind of a basic upholstery look. By the way, heated steering wheel and heated seats, front and back, not operational because they couldn't get the parts for them. They say they will be retrofit later. Out back, the legroom was really tight, especially for that center passenger, but tight overall. First time I sat in the vehicle, I noticed that. Rear area, storage area is good. It's a deep rear storage area, and it's got, of course, the obligatory 12-volt connection there for your
course.
cargo. Underneath, though, here's weird. No spare tire. It looks like there's room for a spare tire, but you don't get one. Always check. I like the hard cover for the storage area. That they still rate it as torque, which was something the Germans did. Now, out front, it has a 2-liter turbocharged engine. I don't think this engine was up to what I'm used to in a luxury vehicle. 235 horsepower, 9-speed auto, the only engine combo you can get, whether you get all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. Little raucous on the road, a little noisy on the road as far as road noise and engine noise.
Don't expect that from a Cadillac.
Yeah, see, a 350 torque. I think that was a dumb carryover. No one knows what that means anyway, and they should probably drop it. Was revealed in 2019. I think it's showing its age a bit. You know, it was pleasant to drive, but you heard that suspension working, and you certainly heard that engine working. And, you know, I think for the price that as tested, we didn't even get wireless phone charging, if I remember correctly. $46,810. That's not inexpensive. I just felt that I could have gotten a lot more for my money for this. Now, for 2023, the minimal changes continue. They have a radiant red tint coat, which I guess is replacing this one, and an argent silver metallic, and lane change alert with side blind zone and rear cross traffic alert are now standard on the luxury. Pretty much a carryover otherwise. Mileage not too bad front-wheel drive. 30 for the front-wheel drive on the highway, 23 for the city for front-wheel drive. I think, my feeling is since they are going all electric and putting more of the emphasis on models like the Lyric and the Celestiq, and they're moving upscale, I'm not sure how much more this model will see. And I'm not even sure if there will be another version of this XT4. It's not bad, but I just feel it's not great for what you pay. I think you can look elsewhere and get a little bit more. I think it should have a spare tire for that price. And I'm wondering when will we see some kind of plan to retrofit these parts and pieces that were not included with these vehicles. I have not seen anything that says like, oh yeah, come in and we've got your parts for your heated seats and heated steering wheel. I'd be kind of disappointed if I bought this and I didn't have that. I will say this, the engine bay was very slick. I like the engine cover and how it was all put together. I thought that was nice. But that 2-liter turbo, you hear it working. And it is a bit choppy. Not terrible, not a terrible vehicle, but just not up to some of its competitors.
Just, I think you nailed it when you said you just kind of expect something nicer for the money.
Yeah, not a bad vehicle whatsoever. The seats were comfortable. It drove fine. The mileage is okay. Good rear room as far as the storage was fine. I liked how the screen didn't stick up above the dashboard, which I think is kind of an outdated look. But kind of play it safe styling, small back seat, raucous engine. Really I remember sitting in the Cadillac house thinking, wow, this is kind of tight back here for legroom. And I'm 5'8". I'm not a big guy, so if you were to put passengers in there, they have good headroom, but they don't have good legroom. So Cadillac needs a small crossover in their lineup, and I think it will probably soldier on with minimal changes until they go all electric. That's my take on it. The infotainment system, GM vehicles pretty much have a good infotainment system. You had your choice of the rotary controller or the touchscreen. I think most people will use touchscreen these days. Also, just not a lot of variety on the interior. Just a lot of jet black plastics. As I say, just a little bit of trim on the dashboard, a little bit of carbon fiber look trim. So, but seat room, you look at that, not very much, is it? Legroom.
Not much. I mean, again, it doesn't look comfortable back there for adults.
Yeah, that third passenger in the middle would not be happy.
No.
So, what else can I tell you about it? We talked about the mileage. We talked about the price. Once again, price is $46,810. It is built in Kansas City, USA. Isn't that where they used to build the Cruze and the Cobalt? I believe so. Gets good safety rating. So, it's just okay. That would be my at the wheel review.
There you are.
If you're looking for a vehicle that's just okay. But we'll see how it develops, if it will stay in the Cadillac lineup, or if it will be replaced by an electric version of something. Or I think it will. I just don't think we're going to see a lot of development on this model. But there you have it. The Cadillac XT4. Not a lot new for 2022 or 23, but we like to review them all, do the at-the-wheel reviews here on Cruise Control. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road.
Bye.